Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships. Now recently I unlocked the British Tier 4 light cruiser HMS Danae, seen here in all of her glory with the B hull incidentally. And she is actually a very good ship. I very much like her, much better than the Caledon, which was the Tier 3, one that I suffered through to get to this one. Now, HMS Danae was originally built in 1916. She was laid down in 1916 and entered service in 1918, so she came in just at the end of World War One. She then spent the interwar years doing sort of flag flying, sailing exercises in another small flotilla that kind of sailed around the Empire, showing off the flag in various ports around the world. She did that, and then she was placed in reserve back in Great Britain. She was mobilised in July 1939 as part of the mobilisation efforts leading up to the start of World War II, and then was attached to various squadrons and operated in the Southern Atlantic, the Indian Ocean, was then in the East Indies and around Singapore. She was then attached to the China Force and was escorting convoys in the Yellow Sea and between the Dutch Indies and Ceylon, along with a few other cruisers, HMS Durban, Dauntless Cornwall, and then the Australian ship HMAS Canberra. She then arrived at a few other places, and then she went to Cape Town to be refurbished. This then lasted about a year, and she didn't come back into service until July 1943, at which point she kind of hung around there for a while, and then she moved back to Britain in 1944 and was attached to a cruiser squadron that then took part in the Battle of Normandy with the D-Day invasions and Operation Overlord. So she was supporting the Sword Beach invasions along with some battleships and a few other cruisers, and then she did that for a while, and then she came back to Plymouth, where she was withdrawn from service. She's quite old by this point, remember, she's something like 20 plus, 25, 26 years old, and she was that for a while. And then the Polish Navy lost a ship, the ORP Dragon, so she was leased to the Polish Navy because she was a sister ship of the Dragon. And she was a Polish Navy ship for a while, which lasted for a while, and she was named ORP Conrad for a couple of years, and she did all of that. At which point she then rejoined the Royal Navy, served for a couple of years again. She was decommissioned in 1946, and then in 1948 she was sold to a scrapyard. And she was scrapped in 1948, and that was the end of her career. So she was in service for 30 years. Quick bit of mental maths there, which is quite a long time actually for warships. And she did very well. So mainly with cruisers, it was mainly convoy escorting, shore bombardment duties and things like that. Now in game, she operates as a light cruiser, so she's not quite as heavily armoured and armed as, for example, the Omaha, which is the American cruiser that I've done a couple of videos about. However, having said that, all of her guns are centerline mounted, so her actual broadside is not that much less than an Omaha, even though she's got fewer guns. So if we go to the Omaha's artillery has got six barbette guns and two sets of two turreted guns. The Omaha's got 10 guns in total, but it can, from a single broadside, it can fire 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them in any one direction. That's about the maximum, I think, because the other side is the same, and then it can fire 5 forwards, a few backwards, etc. Now, the Danae, by comparison, has 6 single guns, but look at this, they're all centerline mounted, so there's one there, one there, one there, one there, one there, and one there. So her broadside is 6 guns rather than 7, even though she only has 6 versus 10. So that's an advantage. The downside of this, though, is because the guns are centerline mounted, it's difficult to quickly switch between targets. So because the Omaha, by comparison, the Omaha's not really a fair comparison. Maybe the Phoenix would be better. Phoenix is the American Tier 4. Because these side ones are in barbettes, these ones can shoot this, these ones can shoot that way. These ones can very quickly switch targets and shoot the other way, whereas with the Danae, obviously, this turret is pointing that way, you have to wait for it to rotate. So that's the downside of this arrangement. However, in general, I think it's better. but that's just my opinion. Maximum firing range is 12.5 kilometers versus the Phoenix, which is 13.7, so it's got a shorter range, but not by that much. However, it has other advantages. So moving on, its torpedo armament is pretty strong. It's got 4 sets of 3 tubes, 2 on each side. There's 3 there, 3 there, and then there's the other side, although I can't really... Can I zoom around? Oh, I can. Cool, I've never actually done this. And then there's 3 on this side as well. So it can put 6 torpedoes in any one direction, quickly turn, and then fire the other 6. And I have used this on occasion, and it's very helpful. The only downside is 6 kilometers, not very good. Not very good range at all. The Japanese are better. Americans are slightly worse. However, if we compare it to the Phoenix again, the Phoenix has only got 2 sets of torpedo tubes, so it's only got 3 per side. So its torpedo armament is double that of the Phoenix. It's got a longer range and the torpedoes are slightly faster. However, with the Danae, you have to wait to get that upgrade. This is the Mark 533mm Mark 5 torpedo upgrade. The Mark 2, which is what you start with, has only got 53 knots of speed, so you need to get up to 59. 59 is actually pretty decent. That's faster than Tier 4, Tier 5 Japanese destroyer torpedoes, even though they have a longer range, and it's not that much better. So the torpedoes are alright. With a cruiser, you need to be a bit careful with relying on torpedoes, because as we move over to the concealment, you'll see that the detectability distance is 10.4 kilometers, so you're going to be well within detection range, so you'll be shot to pieces by most adversaries before you get anywhere near torpedo range. However, it is, as you will see when I show you the replay, it is a very, very helpful capability to have. Now, the other thing with British guns and British ships, which is an important thing to note, is, I don't know whether it's on here, I don't think it is. Actually, yeah, it is. They don't get high explosive ammunition. British ships only get armour piercing. Now, I think it's supposed to be a slightly different type of armour piercing, in that I think it has some high explosive properties as well. But this means that it's actually, the guns are actually somewhat more difficult to use, because if you shoot at a battleship, especially at long range, with a cruiser normally you'd probably fire high explosive, especially if the battleship is angled, because your armour piercing probably isn't going to penetrate, and the high explosive allows you to cause lots of surface damage, destroy modules, destroy engines, things like that. This ship can't do that, so you have to be careful with the artillery, and as you'll see in the replay, it takes a lot of battering to take anything down with the guns. But if you get good armour piercing hits, you can do a lot of damage. So it's a bit of a toss-up as to whether that's better or not. I'm not entirely convinced it is. I know there's other people who think differently, but it's worth bearing in mind. So that is that. AA defences, not incredible, to be honest. I've seen better. Manoeuvrability, it is very manoeuvrable, however. 30 knots is pretty quick. Rudder shift time is 6 seconds. Yeah, rudder 6 times 6 seconds. So it's actually pretty good at dodging, which is just as well, because your armour belt, which is here, is not amazing. Your Citadel is 76mm, Citadel here 57. It's got a big Citadel as well. Getting Citadeled in this ship is actually very, very easy. I've been angled before, and I've been taken out in one battleship salvo. So your best defence against enemy fire is to either not get shot at in the first place, so make sure you're near other people who are more valuable targets than you, or hide behind islands, things like that, or stay at long range where it's easier to dodge. You'll see me get stupidly close a couple of times in the replay. One time is pretty good and the other time isn't at all, and I was lucky to get away with it. So basically with this ship you want to stay at medium to long range where you can dodge enemy fire, and that would be my advice with how to play it based on my experience so far. However, I do like it. It's great fun to play this ship. I really do enjoy it. Now let's move on and see a battle replay. Okay, so here we are in battle.
Action stations.
Here's my sexy little cruiser just here, and all of our team are off to the left over there somewhere, apart from Mr. Other Cruiser over here, which looks like a 6, but I'm not sure about that. Let's check. Oh, it's an Omaha. Shows how good I am, doesn't it? Right, so we're on this really dodgy epicenter thingy. Is it epicenter? I can't remember. Yeah, epicenter type map. So we've got these kind of circle things, and you've got to try and capture all of them. And I really don't like this game mode at all. But anyway, so head into the middle outer ring just to try and get, trying to prevent the enemy from capturing it. And we spot our first guy over in the distance. So let all the turrets line up. And salvos away. 4 guns fire. 2 of the turrets are still spinning around. He's a bit far away, he's heading behind the island. So now we shoot again, and this time we're shooting at the near guy. Meanwhile, turning to keep ourselves angled. It doesn't look like he's actually firing at us. I know he is, but we angled and turned, so he missed completely. That's the thing about this cruiser, you always have to be manoeuvring all the time. Aiming at the Omaha, who has lost half his health, so he's not doing well. And we've just lost sight of everybody again. There's a battleship over there. So what do? We now come about. Do we aim at the battleship? Yep. We see what the battleship's doing. He's firing, but he's not firing at us because we're not actually spotted yet. And we see what else is coming out. There's a cruiser there, but he's slightly too far out of range. Our range on these guns is not coming up apparently, but it's 12.8 kilometers ish. So we launch some at the cruiser that's just vanished, hoping to maybe get some hits. But we shall see about that. This guy's launching some shots at us, so we turn into them to try and get them to miss. They both do, fortunately. Eat the battleship. Launch a salvo at him. We're probably not going to get any significant damage done when he's at that kind of angle, that kind of range. Launch the rest of the guns as well. You're kind of a bit funny on this because on the one hand you don't want to be broadside on, but on the other hand you kind of need to have all of your guns pointing at them, so you kind of need to stay at an angle that puts all your guns to bear without being so flat that it gets into them while constantly turning. But then you need to time your turns such that he's busy reloading while you turn, because otherwise you'll be in mid-turn, broadside on, and you get taken out. We switch targets again to a cruiser who's providing a lovely broadside on target. Switch targets back to the battleship, fire another salvo off. Meanwhile, another cruiser is coming up just here. So let's go back to the captured camera. So we've got our aim point on over there, but we're not actually doing anything yet. We're detected, he's just fired, so now he's detected, which is what we were waiting for. So now he's fully visible, so we start loading on him. That's one shot off. Fire some more shots off, turn to bring the rest of the turrets in line. Not too aish, that was bad. Didn't take much damage because he didn't hit our citadel, but that was a bad angle. Straight on there. So we try and angle a bit, bring the torpedoes up. He's probably too far away because he's just within torpedoes maximum range. But we launch anyway just in case, because he might not manoeuvre out of the way. And then, let me just explain, we're heading towards this island, so we want to turn back to bring the other side into bear. So now what we need to do is slow down, which we've done. We're now at quarter speed, speeding up slightly and pulling through the turn. This guy is charging, man. He's going well fast. First set of torpedoes have missed. He's launched torpedoes at our battleship, Mr. Miyogi. What this guy is not aware of is that I'm just here. The battleship has manoeuvred to avoid the torps. It's failed. One of them's hit him. However, this guy is not aware. Well, he's aware now. Wait till the last possible moment, launch torpedoes, and bang, he's out of it.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
Another battleship there, so he would have been dead anyway. So that's our first torpedo kill. With a light cruiser. Mr. Miyogi is about to die though. He's not really going to survive this, I don't think. Not that amount of health. Turning away from the enemy, get some shots off of the rear turrets. While we're doing it, turn around, unload a full broadside. Aiming at this cruiser over here, who's just managed to make a unload a full broadside at him. the battleship to take on the battleships. Get a defence target, get a nice big old hit on it. Get another broadside off. I'm hoping for a citadel because he is broadside on, but I don't think I manage it. No, that lot missed completely. So then we start battering at this battleship. Well, actually, we were going to fire at him, but then he disappeared. He's legging it elsewhere. Do we fire at him? I can't. Apparently not. But we're almost getting in range of this guy now. Keeping it at an angle such that all of our guns can bear, but we're not broadside on. Putting a speculative shot at him while we're waiting. Probably won't hit, but it's worth a try. There's nothing much else to shoot at. And we got a couple of hits in, which was good. We're up to 17,000 damage now. This guy is moving backwards. You can tell. So if I just free up the camera for a minute, zoom in. This smoke plume just here. The smoke plume is moving forwards, which means he's moving backwards, which is actually a very strange thing to do. I've seen reverse in battle before, and you see he picks up a fair amount of speed actually going backwards. I was very impressed. If slightly weirded out, which means I'm actually having trouble finding the range at the moment because he's going in the wrong direction. Right, we've now got the range. We'll just start unloading. Friendly battleship. Over here is also loading at him. He is a Koenig even. That's how it's pronounced. It's got the double dots over the O, so I think it's a Koenig. So the double dots make it an extended sound. Meanwhile, we carry on unloading at this, and this is where you see the problem with the high explosive shells, especially an angled battleship like this, is we can't really do significant damage. We're slowly chipping away as it is hit points, but it's not exactly knocking me over with how good this is. He's fired at us, so we turn away to try and throw him off. We miss, he misses. Turn away, continue the turn, fire off another broadside while we're waiting. The other thing obviously is that somebody's firing ahead of you, they're trying to predict where you're going to go. And somebody else is firing at us as well. And then we do the opposite absolute genius thing of hitting the edge of the map. So now I'm just kind of turning sideways. But yeah, so when somebody shoots at you, they're trying to predict where you're going to go. So if you're at an angle at them, turning sideways on can help as well, because even though it increases your risk of getting citadel, over there for some reason. It increases your risk of getting citadel. It also means they might get missed. Just back to battering at this guy. Let's keep going. He's still going backwards. He's not shooting at us anymore though. He's shooting at our friendly battleship, which suits me. I really kind of got away with it here because one good few hits from him and I would have been out of it. I really got away with it because there's all these guys over here who are all within range who could have shot at me as well, and none did, so I got away with it by not being shot at. Still chipping away at his health. We're up to 23,000 damage now. This battleship's apparently lost interest in that dude over here there, and he's now firing this way somewhere. I'm not quite sure what was up with him. He's presented his broadside to this guy. He's chosen a different target to shoot at. I'm not quite sure why he's done that, but anyway, I keep battering this guy. We're still way outside torpedo range. We're moving at 29 knots, so we'll be there fairly soon. And then, yeah, we'll just keep battering away, I'd much rather be using high explosive now, because this guy is pretty well angled. He's not so well angled anymore. He's still moving backwards. This is really, really strange. If he was angled, I would have much preferred to have high explosive available, because then you wouldn't be worried about bounces. High explosive just does damage, and we get much more damage and turret damage and all this kind of stuff, which you don't get armor piercing. Like, I can't set fires or anything, which is a bit irritating. However, I do get a damage repair ability, which I will demonstrate. We're chipping away at his health, slowly but surely. You know, doing 1,000 damage per this album, so eventually he's going to go down. However, he has just turned his turrets to start aiming in our direction. I think he's finally realised that the other battleship is out of view, so he's stopped shooting at him because he's now behind the island, and he starts aiming at me. Those missed 6 kilometres. He's not really got an excuse to miss, to be honest. But he's reloading, so we turn broadside on, get all the guns on, shoot again, and then I think we turn back towards him because his reload period is probably going to be coming to an end soon. Turning towards him, only using the front turrets now. I have this feeling he starts moving forward at this point. Damage. Distance closes very quickly, and that was rubbish. He used his top forward turrets, and now he's bringing his rear ones into play. Very bad marksmanship. Launched the torpedoes off, rear turrets again. Did some more damage then. That wasn't too bad. Though he really should have citadeled me then, to be honest. With a full broadside from a battleship at this range, I should have been dead, and I have been dead. 2 games before this. Put some more shots into him. His health is almost out at this point, but he's not going to reload with the torpedoes. And that's our second torpedo kill in a light cruiser in one battle with 6 kilometre range torpedoes. I can't believe this has actually happened. I've done worse than this in destroyers before now. But that was brilliant. As you can see, trying to take on a battleship in this ship is difficult, to say the least. And we've just spotted the enemy carrier. Guess what my next target is going to be? Battleship's over there. He's way too far away to worry about us. He's behind an island. There's another battleship over there. They don't care about him either. He's busy chasing our carrier. And they've only got 3 ships left, so the enemy carrier has come into view. So we start launching shots at him. The carrier's not as heavily armed as the battleship. I'd love to have some light explosions right now as well. We can set some good fires on this guy. Got a citadel bit there. Very good. 1,000 damage. Well, we're now up to 47,000. Gosh. And he's just legging it. Let's aim at the island. Shooting guns over the top. And there's some other fire coming in. That would be the destroyer. I think it's the destroyer who's just there. Just putting some shots in, trying to steal my kill. Worried about those battleships. That guy's behind an island, so yeah, he's not worried about him. He's fighting our battleship, which is there. Alright, and the carrier is now launching his secondary armament. So carriers don't have main armament, they use aircraft. However, they do have secondary gun batteries, which can be problematic for destroyers, and it's going to be problematic for this guy, because if you look at his health bar, he has 3 hit points left, so he's going to have a bit of trouble. Just got another good hit on the carrier. Carrier's now disappeared behind the island. At this point, I was worried about actually going around it, because I thought if I was him, I would have doubled back. I would have turned in the circle and gone the other way. However, he doesn't do that. So what we do is we get the torpedoes out. It's going to be a race between me and this guy, who is a Clemson. And unfortunately, he's faster, so he's ahead of me. So as soon as the torps clear the island, off they go. However, this guy's also launched a full spread. And I get an incapacitation, another hit to the citadel. I still did most of the damage. However, his torpedoes take him, and he stole my kill. However, his 3 hit points. The carrier got him with his last shots of his secondary armament. The carrier took the guy out. So I put a little thing in the chat about kill stealer, but this guy must have just logged off because he didn't reply. But that was brilliant, double kill. Getting killed by a carrier has got to be the most humiliating thing, especially when it's the carrier's guns that do it. That's just, oh dear. Anyway, now I start getting a bit nervous because, as you will have just heard, I am our team's last hope. Everybody else in this game is dead, apart from me in my light cruiser. On the enemy team, they also have one guy left. However, he's a battleship, which is problematic because battleship versus cruiser, as you can just saw, it takes a long time for a cruiser to whittle down a battleship's health. Vice versa is not so true. That guy could take me out in one salvo, and as we can see, Mr. Hexhun here is being very, very complimentary about my chances in this battle. However, there's a couple of things that Mr. Hexhun, or Miss Hexhun, has missed, which will soon be demonstrated. I have torpedoes. He doesn't. I also know where he is. He doesn't know where I am. And the island is in the way. And this is my only chance of beating him, is to do this. In a gunnery duel, I'm dead. Winning a gunnery duel with a battleship is a losing proposition, even at long range, if the guy knows what he's doing. So I have to get in close and ambush him. So what I'm hoping is that he's... yeah, there he is, yeah, he's coming this way. He's well within torpedo range. And this was the only thing I could do, basically. His turrets are not pointing this way. So we get the first set of torpedoes off, second set of torpedoes off, his secondaries are going, that's what those shots are. His turrets are turning towards me, I turn away. He launches a full salvo, but I'm angled, half the shots miss, he destroys my engine. I repair, bring the other torpedo tubes into play, but I don't need them because the last set of tubes, last set of torpedoes hits him and he's out. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was that. Now that went very well, I thought. 3 torpedo kills in a light cruiser, which is not designed to do torpedo kills, that's what destroyers are for. And you've just seen how the Danae works. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please feel free to leave a like, that helps the channel out. And if you enjoy my videos, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, and you'll get all the notifications and you'll see all the other videos and everything else. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.